Let's see if I can remember. Well, not so much remember, because this is going to be a slightly different stream today. Starting early as usual to get all the pre-stream details out of the way. So if anybody is watching the VOD, you will need to skip ahead a few minutes. Hello, Union Pacific fan. Good to see you made it. Right, that's sorted. It's been, let me see, 2 weeks. I've missed the last 2 weeks. So last weekend and the week before, and the weekend before I've missed. Hello, Pufferfish. Good to see people are making it onto the stream. Okay, so I think we're all good to go. It's all done. I got the stream up. Okay. So this is going to be a very different stream today. This is going to be a very humanizing stream, I suppose, is a good way of putting it. The last 2 weeks I've had away from doing online stuff for dealing with real life, is the simplest way I can put it. And a few nights ago, I had a flurry of thoughts come to mind, and I thought I'd write this down and turn it into a stream. So, as the title suggests, I'm just going to be reading out a bunch of thoughts that turned into stories. Chances are in this stream, I'm not going to be paying that much attention to the chat. So if the chat starts going mad, I'm probably not going to really notice it, or at least not respond to it. So I'm not leaving you out on purpose. But yeah. So this is going to go from interesting to funny to somber to quite miserable potentially, and I'm gonna go down in the order that I wrote them in. So I want to start off with a story from when was this? This was in primary school. So if anybody knows something called slam attacks, they were basically the WWE version of football cards. Match attacks exist, and so did slam attacks. First introduced in 2008, the year I got into wrestling, and I thought, yeah, this is, when you're a kid, you want to get collectible cards. That's a really fun thing to do. So with this first year in particular, it was unique in the sense that you could go online and purchase the individual cards you wanted, which also included the rare foil cards. Now, for the WWE Slam Attacks versions, they are called champion cards, and it was very interesting. This was when you're a kid, you learn so much through interesting means, and learn, like, understanding trades and spending money on stuff you're not going to really get anything out of. It's kind of along those lines. And I remember in particular the the day where I got the best card in the series. So with Slam Attacks, at least for the first 3 years, I know that much. I don't know if this was a trend for Slam Attacks for every year since, but cards are done in a statistical way where you got the character, or the wrestler I should say in this case, and they have 2 stats along the bottom. In this case, it's attack and defense. It's wrestling after all. And the highest rated card was, again, this was 2008, so of course it was John Cena, with both ratings being 101. And that's the trend where, at least for the first 3 years, there was always that 101 card. It was always going to win competitions you had if you played it in a deck against somebody. And the amazing thing about this is I was close to completing my collection of these cards. I had a few left to get, and I went online with Dad. I said, okay, I absolutely remember this being a thing where you could buy the individual cards. Again, these were called champion cards. So there's a normal wrestler version. There was a finishing move, which is another kind of full version, but this the champion card was the rainbow version. So that evening, sat down with Dad. I bought or clicked on all the cards I haven't bought yet or haven't got yet in my collection, then bought them. But the thing is, it was only, I don't know, a couple of quid per card, so you can get the rarest and best card in the collection for just a couple of quid, which is insane. So later that night, I said to Dad, okay, that's fine, but I want to have one more, that one more feeling, that one more moment of opening card packs because it was fun. Why not? I go into go up the high street. I go into a shop that sells some cards. It was like a stationery sort of shop. I don't know if anybody here is from the UK. They know a shop called WH Smith. It's a stationery kind of store. They had cards behind the counter. Bought a few packs. I thought, okay, this is going to be the last time I do that. Now, I've always waited until I got home to open the packs. But this time I thought, why wait? I'm halfway through walking home and I start opening the cards. And to my complete disbelief, I got him. John Cena 101, the best card in the collection. This is the spare one, a spare super version of this card. I do have the binder at home. Obviously, I am at home now. I think it's behind all those boxes. I can never remember where they are because things got shuffled around over the past number of months. I've got them. The first 2 years of cards, the entire collection is complete. So I do have a second one of these out there. And yeah, it was so fascinating and so exciting and so depressing in the fact that I just got the best card in the collection in a pack. I packed him, but I also just bought this card online. So yeah, at the time I thought it was a waste, but looking back in hindsight, I've got two of the best. I don't know if this has any value. I don't think this is really going to be a thing that people don't really care about. It's not in the best condition. There's a couple of bits on the side where it's kind of peeling off. If I can you see? You can kind of see it there where it's kind of peeling a bit. Yeah, it's not in the best condition. The other one is in a much better condition, of course. But yeah, it was quite the moment. Very surreal. The funny thing with that, so this next bit is going to be related to this story, and it's going to go into the next one. So this all took place. This was all going on when I was in primary school, and my best friend in primary school, I had two best friends, like a train best friend and a wrestling best friend. My wrestling best friend was named Sam, and he was kind of the main guy who I would trade cards with. And because I got a fair whack of doubles, I was able, he always brought the doubles into school to trade. And there were times where he would want a really strong card that I've got in trade for something else. So I remember a much lower rated card he was going to give me in turn for the Rey Mysterio champion card, which is one of the best ones. I didn't like it, but I kind of got forced into it, and that's one of those situations where you're a kid, you kind of, when you grow up, you think, so, okay, I can't let something like that happen again. But the thing is, that wasn't the first time. He also kind of forced a trade where he gave me the Matt Hardy champion card. He comes up to me, he puts it in my hand and says, tomorrow, I want the Edge champion card, and that's it, he just goes home. I'm thinking to myself, well, no, I don't want to do that. I was tempted to give the card back, but at the same time, Sam was, yes, he was a wrestling fan, but he was also much more of a fighter. So there was always that potential of, if I said no to that swap, he was probably gonna like beat me up or something. So again, being a kid, I thought, oh, I don't want to get beat up, so I hesitated and did the trade. But yeah, that was someone that came to mind randomly quite recently with the whole slam attacks thing. But then, because of my mate Sam, it also reminded me of something else. He was quite the character, and I don't think my parents watch these streams, so I think I'm going to be okay with saying this. But if they find out, I'm probably going to be in a bit of trouble. But well, let's give it a go. So, a couple of months back, I was first informed by my parents my mum in particular, who said, "Did you know that Sam's died?" I said, "What do you want about? No, he hasn't. Like, he's never like, he's not that kind of person. Like, don't be daft." And then like, a few days later, word started to get out, and I saw on my Facebook timeline from some couple of friends of mine who had shared a website blog in relation to his passing. And I thought, okay, now I believe it, because again, I know what his name is, but they used a different name, so I at first thought, no, this still can't be real. But yeah, it was him. It was interesting. Oh, not interesting. I shouldn't be saying that. But it was also kind of surreal, I suppose would be the better word to use, in the sense that, again, when you think back, okay, these are the things I did with him, the slam attacks guys. We loved wrestling. We would obviously, because we're kids, we wrestled on the trampoline. And obviously a bunch of memory starts flooding back. I read the article about his passing and why he made the ultimate decision, shall we say. He made the choice. And yeah, it was an interesting read because so many aspects that led to his ultimate decision, I totally understood. Because in the past few weeks, I have had similar thoughts and feelings, shall we say. Nothing to go as far as he did, of course not. But I can absolutely understand why he would go that far because, again, a personal. What was the word I used? Personal affairs. That's the word. So yeah, it was a shock. It was thought, okay, he's gone now. He could have, I don't know, done it. It's weird in the sense that I know I could have done something because I can absolutely understand what he was going through, but he never got in touch with me. Chances are he tried to get in touch with other people, and that's something I absolutely get as well because I've tried to get in touch with people in the past. Like ever since I finished college, none of my friends have kept in touch. I've replied, or rather, I've sent so many messages to a bunch of old college mates, but none of them have replied. So if he was going in such a similar situation, then I get that. But yeah, that was that. So speaking of college, that's another excellent segue onto the next story. So every now and then I think about this, and it kind of makes me ask myself so many questions because I'm never going to know the answer to this. It has convinced me of a number of things, but at the same time, I don't know specifics. So I finished college back in May of 2016. Did all my courses, did all my exams, everything was pretty good. And the day arrived where I could officially collect all my coursework and go home. Then it was obviously the process to get into enter working life, get a job. You know, that's a whole pain in the ass in and of itself. That took me 4 months to do. 4 months to go from college to getting a job. So yeah, I'm still working at that same place. So even if it's not the place you want, it's not. It was the last place I applied to, and that was the place that took me in. Not the field I wanted to work in. I wanted to do something creative, but hey, go, I'm stuck in retail. That's life, everyone. So if ever you think, oh yeah, this is a bit sucky, it's more common than you think. So this story in particular, again, is one that I have told a couple of times to a number of different people. I've never really said this online because this is kind of a personal one, but I feel like in time I am gonna have to share the story because I feel like this has partly defined the kind of person I am today. Again, with the whole, I'm asking myself the same questions that I just can't get an answer to. So again, finished college May 2016, took 4 months to get a job, but in that period, it was very silent. Obviously, when you finish school and you move on, you and your friends are going to start drifting apart. It's natural, and it's sad, but again, it's a thing that's going to happen. And in that time, the group chat got very quiet. But at the same time, I started to notice that there were signs, I suppose. Nothing so obvious, but there were subtle things where there was so much going on that I didn't know about. And a couple months after I finished college, more like the tail end of summer, so about this time 6 years ago, I go on Facebook and I see a picture of all my friends on holiday together. They're in Spain, I think it was. They had a lads' holiday. They're all posing, wearing sunglasses, looking like they're having the best time ever. And they had that holiday, and I didn't get the invite. I was the only person who didn't get the invite. I later learned out, well, I say later on, I left a comment straight away saying I was upset that I didn't get an invite. But they then told me that they had made a separate group chat to organize that holiday. So to make sure I didn't know about it, they made a separate group chat without me to make sure that I wasn't gonna kind of force my way in the first place. I didn't get an invitation to begin with. They didn't want me to come along. So all my friends, this was the best friendship group I've ever had as well. We talked every day. The banter was incredible. We were just so tight, so close. But on that day, my heart just broke. And I feel like that was definitely the moment where I feel like my lack of trust in people kind of developed because, again, I was so upset and angry and so disappointed, so many negative emotions flowing through me at the fact that this would have been a prime opportunity for me to keep in touch with people, but I purposefully wasn't invited. So, yeah. If you ever see me make a spiteful comment online where it seems like I'm unnecessarily harsh, just know that it probably does come from somewhere. And if anything, it's from here. So yeah, that's my what was it? There's a character in The Incredibles, the short statured person who what's his name? Let's find out. Hang on a minute. From Incredibles. Incredibles characters. Not that one. Where is? Let's figure. Hang on. Let's get this. Oh, hang on. I saw it. There it is. Okay, so from Incredibles, there's a character called Gilbert Hup, Hupe. I don't know. But yeah, this is I think it's this character who says to to Mr. Incredible whilst he's in that office job where he talk something Sally sob story. That's what I'm basically trying to get at. This is my Sally sob story, basically. But yeah, I think in time it's something that needs to resonate with more people. Speaking of friends that were not the best, whilst I was in secondary school, there was a friend I made who was he was a pain in the ass to deal with, but he knew it and he didn't care. So his name is Ethan. No idea what he's doing today, but the thing is I just couldn't give a shit about what he's doing. He pissed off a lot of people, so if he's in the same position as I am, I would honestly not be surprised. So this is he's basically someone who is like a button pusher. That's the best way I can describe it. He was someone that figured out what he could do to annoy people without getting punched in the face. You know, this kind of people, if you have younger siblings, they probably did that. If you've got that one friend in school who does that as well, that's basically him. It's not enough for him to, again, get beaten up or something, but it's enough where he'll, like, you're sat next to each other and he'll just blow on your hair or blow into your ear for no reason. It's petty, annoying stuff. And there's two things I remember about this guy. So first of all, this is something I've actually said before in the old Triton's Tales series. Um, the first time my YouTube channel got revealed was through him. So we were in year 8. This was some how deep, because I was in year 8 when I made my channel, and it might even been year 10. I don't know. I don't know how long it had been because there's 2 years. Either would have been a couple of months or 2 years after the channel was first created. But I remember being in one of the computer rooms for an IT lesson or a media lesson, and we're sat next to each. Obviously, you're trying to sit with your friends as close as you can, and we are just going at it. And obviously, we're kids. We're gonna get distracted. We're gonna have a look at some other websites and that sort of thing. And again, I said this in the past. For the life of me, I don't know how he figured this out. I have no idea how he found my channel, but he found my channel. Now, when you're a kid, if someone reveals something like something secret you have, the rest of your year group is going to find out, and you are going to be bullied for the rest of that year. Like, so long as you're still in that school, that's it, you're done, you're finished. Because kids are a bunch of shits, you know? Kids are just the worst. But that's all part of growing up. You learn a lot of stuff like this when you're young. So again, he nudges me and he says, "Luke, is this your YouTube channel?" Like, as soon as he said that, I thought, "Oh my god, he can't be serious." And I look over to his monitor, and sure enough, my channel was on there. So this was, again, very early stages of me on YouTube. I started making videos when I was 14 years old. So obviously the videos there are going to be very low quality. At the time, the videos I had were, I think I had a few Skyrim based videos. I definitely had some Lego train content. Obviously, the trains I made at the time were very rubbish because obviously 10 years ago. And a couple of Lego, I called them street racers. It's like the sort of cars you would see from the first two Fast and Furious films, like those sort of style, like imports, I think the term is. I'm not a car person, not anymore at least. And so yeah, that was those were the kind of videos I had on my channel. I had three videos that did really well. My very first video, my Emerald Champion video, like version one, and I think the third one was a Skyrim video, but he looks at that. I said, "Oh my!" Basically, respond in panic, basically confirming to Ethan, "Yes, this is my YouTube channel." And he just starts sniggering to himself. He starts laughing, and he's like the whole thing is he's kind of ready to. He's exactly the kind of person who would have shared this to as many people as he could. But being a kid, obviously, I didn't want to have that happen. So I had, oh my god, how many videos did I have back then at the time? Because I deleted all of my videos except for those three popular ones. I also want to quickly say, because I don't want to cause any panic, the word that I said earlier had an S at the front of it. So just in case somebody plays this back and thinks I said a certain bad word, I didn't. I put an S in front of it. So, you know, please don't panic over that. It's okay. I promise. So, yeah. And to get back on track, I deleted again everything except for those three. It's a shame because if I had the knowledge that you could set videos to private, I would absolutely set them to private. But there were so many videos from my first 5 years whilst being on YouTube that I have deleted. It's a real shame as well because a bunch of them got moved over to another channel, and we'll get to that story in a moment soon. So that's the main thing I remember about Ethan, was the fact that he had managed to find my channel through means of witchcraft and wizardry. I don't know if anybody else found out and told Ethan. He just found it. He just found the channel, and he was ready to blab that to the entire school group and basically make me the laughing stock of my school. So yeah, that was a thing I managed to avoid. The other thing with Ethan was he also didn't give a shit about the button pushing that he did. He was, again, like I said earlier, he knew how to get people agitated and annoyed, but not enough where they would go up to him and punch him in the face. So at the end of the year, at the end of your, this was secondary school, so at the end of year 11, we did this thing where we had a sort of a separate book, like this one, for example, and you would go around to all your classmates and all the people in your school, people that you would kind of were more friends with, and you would ask them to write a little note basically saying good luck in your future, hope you move on, hope you're doing well, signed from Ryan, arbitrary name, like that, for example. And some of us, obviously Ethan did have some friends, me being one of them, and I didn't ask Ethan at the time because another friend of mine called Ed, he went up to Ethan and asked him to sign it. Ethan leaves him with the book for a moment. He comes back to me, we chat. Ethan comes over to us with the book. He signs it, and he's got this like shit-eating grin on his face, right? And Ed reads the passage that he wrote, and it was all sweary, a bit like this stream, which is a far take from the PG streams I've done in the past. But anyway, Ethan was not happy. So he tears out the page. I don't have any reason to remember that there was someone else's writing on the other side of that page. So he tears it out and kind of just throws it in the bin, if anything. But he tore that page out. Goes over to Ethan and says, Ethan, could you just write a nice one, please? Is that really so difficult? So he again leaves the book with Ethan so he can go off and do something else. Comes back a moment later, and he's all Ethan wrote was like in big capital. You know when you're pressing the pen into the paper, he kind of left that kind of mark, and he wrote, "I'll write whatever the fuck I want, you C-bomb." Like I've sworn a couple of times in this stream, but a C-bomb, I'm not ready to go there yet. Okay, we'll get there in time probably, but he dropped the C-bomb when he wrote that down, and that really pissed off Ed. And I didn't go up to Ethan afterwards because Ed went first to get a passage from Ethan. I don't know if Ethan signed in anyone else's book, but Ethan was just laughing at that. You know, he wrote something annoying on purpose, knowing the reaction he would get. And I don't know if he did that to anyone else. I don't know if Ethan was nice to everyone else, just except for Ed. I don't believe that much, but yeah, it just wasn't good. It's a real shame that people like Ethan exist because, again, the button pushing, the shit stirring, all that sort of petty aggravation that people do against other people, it's just pointless. This is why society is devolving. It really is. So I mentioned old videos, and again, another excellent set. I promise these aren't purposeful segues from one story to another. It's just flowing really well like this. And I mentioned Skyrim videos. Does anybody here watching this stream like how long have you been around for? In the sense where if I say to you that I did Skyrim videos and my Skyrim character builds, that sort of thing, which we'll obviously get into in a moment, but how many people remember that? So there's only a couple of people watching the stream today, but if I did a poll, there probably would be some people that would remember that. So when I first started doing YouTube, I did two things: Lego cars and Lego trains. Eventually, I was really getting into a channel called Fudge Muppets, who at this time have over 1 million subscribers. They focus on Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and they love role-playing. And they did a series called Skyrim Character Builds. This was back in the day where we had the original PC version and the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions of the game. So character builds were interesting because there were so many options at the time, because, you know, it was still early in that game. I saw what they did, and I thought, you know what, I've got some ideas as well. Let's make some videos. So I made my Skyrim character builds, but the only difference between mine and theirs was mine was about 3 minutes long. I went through all the stats, the armor, all the details, the race of the character. I just didn't do a backstory. I could never be bothered with a backstory. So yeah, that was something that I did. The first one took off really well. It was not my first Skyrim video, but the character builds caught on in a weird way. And I started to get more ideas. I thought, okay, this armor combination with this character race, I can make this another character. It's more so, again, I never did the backstories. So it was more of a case of looking at this character as a template, then you make the backstory. I kind of justified it by doing that way, but ultimately I was just so lazy. I can't be bothered to do backstories. I'm not going that far in. The most amazing thing was I had no recording equipment at all. So I swear to God, I was recording. So I had my Xbox 360 turned on. I got the monitor here with Skyrim up, and I would just have to hold my phone in front of the monitor and be as still as possible. That was how I filmed my character builds. In time, I was able to make a small stand out of Lego. Similar in the sense that I have a stand that's holding my tablet right now. And you know what? It might even be the same one because I've had this stand for so many years. It genuinely might be the same stand. Oh man, it's, that's insane. Like the Lego mock that has stuck around with me the most is a thing that holds my phone. So I was able to position it away where I got a couple of boxes on the bed about where I'm sitting now, put that stand up, sit a little bit further back, and record through there. And again, it was exact like filming on a potato. Quite literally, I was just only using my phone. There's no professional recording equipment. There was nothing installed on the Xbox. But yeah, Skyrim builds turned into a couple of Let's Plays, which turned into their own dedicated character builds. And I did 411 character builds. They were basically armor combinations with specific weapons and certain stat spreads, the skills that you were focused on. It's literally that, like absolutely milked to the maximum. And in time, I decided to move all of those videos onto a separate channel. The channel itself I still have as a separate account, but in time, all those videos were deleted. And I remember it being for a copyright reason. I can't remember what reason that was. Maybe it was the whole copper thing, or something that came before that. What was the big copyright thing that came before copper? I can't remember. But yeah, there was a big copyright thing going on with YouTube that made me, or at least convinced me to go, okay, I'm going to move all these videos from this channel to this channel, and that's it. Again, looking back with hindsight, I kind of wish that I at least didn't delete the videos on the second channel, or if anything, just set the Skyrim videos to private, because yeah, if I still had them on my channel today, they would very obviously show their age, which is quite insane to be honest, because I'm so reminiscent of that era when I was on YouTube. I was a gamer, but I didn't really have anything professional going on. Yeah, it was one hell of a very different time to my Lego Train era. The most incredible thing that came from that was there was a guy who kept commenting on those videos, and he oh, I didn't do the ping. I've just realized. 207 people in the Discord server, by the way. Well, let's see how well this stream goes going forward. Oh yeah, I still got that one there. So there's those two to kind of talk about. Yeah, so where were we? Yeah, there was a guy, I think the guy's channel actually still exists. Because I remember the last time I looked this up, I found his channel. He's deleted everything. Channel. He kind of just went quiet. Yeah, that's his avatar. Still that one video. He's changed his name now. His channel name has now changed. But it used to be called Overload Parkour. Then it became Overload PG. He had a lot of obviously parkour videos, but he also did Skyrim builds on his own. And yeah, technically it was my first collaboration, which is really cool. You know, when you get to collaborate or at least interact with other people through YouTube, that's quite exciting, you know? Yeah. So people that have arrived over the past few minutes, hello and welcome to the stream. A very different stream today. I'm just telling a bunch of stories. I did the Discord ping half an hour late. I do apologize to those who are only just arriving to find out that the stream is potentially nearly ending. All of the main stuff that I wanted to talk about has been noted down and basically sorted out. There are a few more things. I would like to talk about. First of all, let's get some more lifeblood in me. So that's actually it with all the stories I've got. For today's stream at least. So again, these were a bunch of things that came to mind over the past few days. Past few weeks in general, I have taken kind of off from YouTube for the sakes of sorting out real life, because you know real life does exist, and it does really kick you right between the legs, and it's not the most fun thing ever. So that's all the story stuff gone. Let's talk about the channel. So first of all, this should link into a poll that I did. A while back, I asked if people wanted to see Lego Train in action videos again. It's something I haven't done in a very long time, because when I made a Lego Train, I recorded the review, and then I recorded a separate in-action video. That's what I call a running session, basically. I got a looper track on my floor, and it's just the train having a good run, looking good, sounding good. It's, again, an easy video. I called them cheap videos because it was literally just me setting up everything on the floor. I wouldn't have to say anything. It's just watching the train with the same 5 angles for 2 minutes. You know, that's all it really was. But after a certain point, I think it's when I first started to make the Thomas characters. When the first big group of 7 wide models were made, I did the action videos for them, and after that point, I think I just stopped. That reminds me, I need to change my banner on my channel. So, yeah, there is that. But I made a poll recently to... How long ago was this? 4 days ago. Okay. So I made a poll saying to people, would you like to see action videos return? 32 people voted, 66% said yes, but as individual trains in action, 28% said yes, but do them as a group, and the rest said no, they don't really care for them. So I think ultimately by that poll alone, we are going to get some in-action videos coming back. There is an in-action video on the way. I am posting a bunch of in-action clips, I suppose, to my Instagram, and I've got 10 clips to go out. The second one went out earlier this evening. Once the 10th one has gone out, that will then lead into me uploading the main video, basically with all 10 clips put together. It's not professional anyway. It's just me sat in the middle of a 2-track loop, basically playing with and testing all the new 8-wide builds I have done. It's, again, this is more of a cheap thing in the sense that these would definitely be, those clips would be fine on Instagram. Putting all 10 clips together and putting it on YouTube, it's just me having another video to upload. That's all it kind of really is. But at least there's another video. That's something else to kind of take in and consider. So there is that. Another video I've got on the way is a full video showcase of my 8-wide City of Truro. Of all the 8-wide mods that I did, the City of Truro changed the most, and it's basically a completely different model, and I adore it. Yeah, it's been a few weeks since I've uploaded properly anyways, so there is that too. Speaking of 8-wide trains, the next one is currently being built. I may as well show you. Stand by. Without stepping on anything, good lord. Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't seen my latest community post here on YouTube, I've decided that the next Lego train I want to build is the Santa Fe Blue Goose. It is a very interesting looking train. White is the dominant color there, and it's something that I've only really built a couple of times when it comes to trains, but not for anything real either. So this is the first real train I'm building that has white as the dominant livery color. And so far, today's progress is this. The bottom part that uses a lot of blue. There's going to be a stripe of light grey, and I need to figure out how this is going to work, because looking at the coaches, the strip is going to be bigger on there than it will be on this. So that's something I have to figure out as we go on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this thing being built. It's an American engine, which is something I don't really do. I British, so I kind of stick to British models. But yeah, this is coming along quite nicely, to be honest. It's a bit chunky already, and I'm very keen to see how testing is going to go because of all the overhang, most likely. But yeah, that's going to be the next big project. I've already started. I've made a bunch of Bricklink orders too. So Bricklink orders are going to be held up because here in the UK, a lot of Royal Mail employees have gone on strike. I think the strike begun today or the beginning tomorrow, and I think it's going on up until Wednesday. So I'm not getting my orders until next weekend, which is completely understandable, but a bit of a shame as well because having to wait for orders to arrive, it really does suck. That's not quite on the tracks, but I'll have to do. So one more thing I will talk about before I head off because there isn't really much else to kind of go over. Last night I was on another live stream. This was a very exciting opportunity for me because I've done my own live streams for, what was it, 8 months? I think I started streaming at the beginning of the year. I've not been that consistent, which is at least understandable. But yeah, it's very cool to be recognized by someone else and be invited onto someone else's stream, which is again really interesting, really exceptional in the fact that I've been acknowledged by someone outside of my subscriber base. I've done a lot of stuff for the Lego Train community. I've done a lot of stuff for other people, both in this hobby and in real life. And yesterday was basically the first time I felt like I was really acknowledged for my efforts. So yeah, without going on a massive tangent about real life stuff, it was really fun to be able to join a bunch of other people and talk a bunch of Lego stuff. It was, yeah, a really grand time. I've made a bunch of posts on my Discord server and here on YouTube as well, tagging the stream itself as well as all the other people who were on that stream. It was like a panel show sort of thing. There was 9 of us in total. One of the guys stuck around for the first hour and 20 minutes. He was in Utah in America for a Lego show, and he basically gave us all like a tour. But the problem is, we were expecting that to go for about half an hour, I think. That went on for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So, over a third of the stream runtime is this guy giving us a tour from a Lego show. Which is great, don't get me wrong, but for my first appearance and probably my last one because of my personal work schedule, it was a bit of a shame that so much time was taken up kind of unintentionally. So, yeah, there is all that. But all the same, I definitely encourage you all to check it out because it's about 3.5 hours long. Yeah, so 3 hours, 31 minutes, 14 seconds. I think one of the longer streams this guy has done. But again, it was a really fun time. It was definitely a series you can watch previous episodes of and really enjoy them. It's literally all like again, from only one appearance, I can definitely say it's just a bunch of Lego fans talking together about Lego. That's pretty much it. People there kind of have their area of expertise. Obviously, I was invited because they wanted to talk to me about a bunch of train stuff. There was a couple of people there who were into Lego Harry Potter. There was obviously the guy who was there to show us the Lego show, and so on. So yeah, it was a wonderful time. I would like to try and get back on there again one day, but again, because of personal work schedule, don't know how easy that's going to be. Right then, folks, I'm afraid I'm going to end the stream here. It is a much shorter one than normal, I know, but that's all I really have for you today. Again, this was going to be a very different stream because I had all of these stories I wanted to tell. I am going to have a look back at some... Oh, pardon me. I'm going to have a look back at some other videos that I did in an old series called Triton's Tales. They've all been set to private, so there's no point in looking for them. If I just do it this way... try and use these to kind of introduce more stories to these episodes. So yeah, this will be an interesting thing to kind of talk about. I like to Pardon me again. I would like to try and use my streams as a way of doing more than just the standard chatting with the or chatting with the chat, I suppose. But yeah, I would like to try and spice things up. I'm thinking about the next stream could probably be a would you rather stream. So you basically put a bunch of would you rathers in chat and I'll answer them. One stream could just be me building something and I've got the camera down there and you just watch me build for an hour. We can definitely try that. But yeah, I would like to try and expand these streams a little bit more. So hopefully we can make that work one day. Not too sure about next week because again, we're not there yet, but we'll figure out as time goes on. So thank you all so much for tuning in, everyone. It's been a pleasure to do these streams as always. Thank you for accepting the fact that I had to deal with real life stuff and put these streams on hold. I have a new video to go out. I might put one out tomorrow because the next one otherwise is going to be the community challenge video. And I don't think I want to really keep you waiting for much longer for another video, so I'll probably do that. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well, like I mentioned earlier. I've got a bunch of clips going up on there of what I've been doing recently. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll see you soon.